So you just signed up for the Dopey Challenge. Now, I know registration process felt like you were signing up for the Hunger Games, but here's exactly what you need to do next. By now, you're probably thinking, what did I get myself into? 48.6 miles over 4 days sounds insane, right? Don't worry, I've got you covered. If you could get through the crazy amounts of stress to register for this challenge, you will be able to actually complete the challenge. Whether you're feeling overwhelmed, unsure where to start, or worried about injuries, this training will give you the exact steps you need to start your training the right way. I'll share real stories from runners just like you who conquered Dopey and the key things you need to do right now to stay healthy, strong, and confident heading into race weekend. And if you stick around long enough, I'm going to share with you 3 common mistakes beginner runners make while training for the Dopey Challenge. So let's get started. Now, the runDisney Dopey training plan on their website says to start your training 29 weeks before the race, which would be the 3rd week of June. Now, I love Jeff Galloway and he's a friend of this show, but with all due respect to Jeff, I'm here to tell you, as your running physical therapist and coach, that your quote unquote training, meaning consistent running and strength building, starts now if you actually want to conquer 48.6 miles next January. So I have actually run the Dopey Challenge myself, and coming within during that challenge for the marathon, I actually came within 4 minutes of my marathon PR, which is pretty crazy when you think about it, with running the half marathon and then the 5K and the 10K the day before. And I'm signed up for next year. I am super pumped. And I just loved the marathon, loved the challenge, and just found it as such a great place to actually run a race that's a lot different than other marathons, other half marathons that I've done in my journey. And my heart was literally about to explode trying to register for this race. And I actually saw my Apple Watch give me a notification that I had a high heart rate notification and knew I was sitting down, that my heart was like above 100 beats per minute. So talk about the stress. Like, that was insane. And every year I feel like it gets a lot worse. So if you got through that, like, you're going to be able to do the challenge. And our runners have actually been using this for years to start running, stick with it so they can improve their health and not only feel better physically, but also mentally as well. And over the past 3 years, I've created and redefined the number one way to stay healthy while training for runDisney, even if you are in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. Our services and community have helped over 500 runners hit their running goals, even if they were a beginner or recovering from an injury. So they had a cranky knee, they had an Achilles that wasn't good. But I have a disclaimer for you. This system isn't some Disney magic. You are going to actually have to run consistently. You're going to have to stop procrastinating and take the plunge into the deep end of the pool, because you did actually sign up for the Dopey Challenge. And you need to commit to doing at least a few hours a week into specific runs, learning exercises, learning about nutrition in order to make your Dopey dreams a reality. So if you follow this system, you might be surprised at how quickly you actually enjoy the training process. And that is the thing I loved my first experiences. I really enjoyed the training. I loved it. And how quickly you can start feeling stronger and running longer, because it is such an awesome challenge. Not only the actual races, but the training and actually completing the training. It's going to give you so much confidence. I know it did for me. So stick with me here, guys. I'm going to share with you 5 strategies I want you to consider right now. Not in the summer, not in the fall, going into the race, right now. So let's jump into number 1, which is, if you feel pain during training, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to stop running. And I know that's counterproductive to what you've been told before or what you may think. And I think of runners in our community like Paul, who is dealing with a high hamstring pain, which literally is a pain in the butt. If you haven't had this before, he had it for over 18 months and he was just told to stop running by doctors until Paul and I met. And he was newer to running as an adult and overtrained and was not doing any strength training at all. He was only running and he was ready to call it quits on running. But I am so glad he came into our healthy runner world because after working with Paul on run specific strength exercises and hamstring specific loading exercises, he was able to finish all of the Disneyland challenges and races with some crazy heat. And he even came back following the following weekend to like crush his 10-mile race, which was his main goal, all pain free without having to worry about his upper hamstring pain that he had for 18 months prior. So you don't necessarily need to stop running during your Dopey training if you have a running related injury like Paul had. And by the way, if this is our first introduction, first off, welcome to the healthy runner world and community. I'm Dr. Duane Scotti. I'm a running physical therapist, coach, educator, founder of Spark Healthy Runner, and creator of the Healthy Runner podcast. And my mission is to help you stay motivated and driven to challenge yourself and not only conquer the Dopey challenge, but enjoy lifelong injury-free running after so you can make an impact in this world through the power of running. Because if you've been doing it for a while, you understand what that power is and the impact that running can have on our lives, not only physically, but mentally as well. So let's get into number 2 here, guys. Number 2 is if you've signed up as part of a weight loss and healthy lifestyle plan, there's more to conquering Dopey than just following a plan. I think about Dinah in our healthy runner community who started running just for those reasons and decided to conquer the Disney half marathon, but unfortunately suffered not only losing 5 toenails, but developed pain in her IT band in her hamstring area. And at this point, Dinah was feeling stuck because she couldn't run more than 3 miles due to pain and thankfully reached out for guidance. And with the guidance from Coach Kat on our team, Dinah learned how to train properly, combining exercises that got her body stronger, but also built up the running the right way, whether it was on a treadmill or outside. Not only did Dinah complete her next Disney half marathon running the whole way without needing to take walk breaks, but she did it pain free and got back to joy and fun in running again. She has actually since this time gone on to finish multiple wine and dine challenges and by now, and she is just such a spark of inspiration for anyone who is in her presence. And if you are a true beginner and have not been running consistently at least 3 times a week for the past 2 to 3 months, I do have a freebie download to this training that I wanted to tell you about, and that is our How to Start Running Spark Healthy Runner blueprint, in which you will actually learn the strategies to start running the right way without getting injured, with implementing run specific strength training. And this is going to be really helpful if you're really looking to start your Dopey training, but you don't know where to begin. Like, this resource is going to really help you out. And if you've tried to run in the past, but had to stop because it was too hard, it was too painful, or you stopped shortly after you actually started, then you're going to want this free resource. Like I said, this is going to be magical, using some Disney terms, for you. And in this comprehensive beginner runner guide, we provide you with all the essential tips, tricks, advice on how to actually help you start running confidently and stay healthy so you can actually be consistent with your running, take it up as a habit, and not get injured or burned out along the way, because the Dopey challenge can burn some people out. And if you've thought like you're not meant to be a runner, I'm not fast, I'm too old to actually do this Dopey challenge, you might be thinking, or I don't have a runner's body, this free resource is for you. So get your download today and start running by simply going to learn.sparkhealthyrunner.com /start. And now let's get to number 3 in my tips for really what to do next after signing up for the Dopey Challenge. Strength training is key to your success. I'm going to repeat it again for the folks in the back because you need to hear this. Strength training is key for your success. As Kristen from our Healthy Runner community said, it was the main reason for her success in our program, working with Coach Kat on our team, as someone who went from a clueless, beginner, frustrated runner with aches and pains to feeling empowered and having the confidence to actually push herself. Strength training is like the secret weapon. It's going to protect your body and keep you healthy. How does it do that? It nourishes and protects your joints. So if you've been told you have a little arthritis going on in your knee, your hip, you've had a labral tear in your hip, or you've had patellofemoral joint pain, runner's knee, like, it's going to protect your joints. It's going to also protect your muscles. So it's going to prevent hamstring pulls. If your calves are always getting strained, you get cramps in your calves, your hip flexors feel tight with running, it's going to also bulletproof your tendons. So from Achilles tendonitis, posterior tibial tendonitis, hamstring pain, we talked about Paul before, like PHT pain, it's going to help those tendons. And in the download that I mentioned before, I share with you my 25-minute level 1 strength routine for runners. All you need to literally do is hit play on the button. I'm going to talk you through all the exercises, the full workout video. So you need to strength train in order to run, to conquer Dopey Challenge. So now let's get to our 4th tip here, which is you don't need to suffer through shin splints during Dopey training. This is probably like one of the saddest things that I notice at the Disney races is the amount of runners who are walking around with ice on their shins and ice on their knees. If you train properly, if you build up the strength and resilience in your body, you will not need to do that. And you don't need to suffer through shin splints during Dopey training. You will need to make adjustments when you have flare-ups of pain or setbacks. And I think of one of our friends in our community, Dopey, who is dealing with chronic shin splints, posterior tibial tendonitis for almost a year. She had worked with multiple other coaches, physical therapists, with little success. And she was at the point at almost giving up on her love for running. And she has run multiple Disney marathons before. Dipti saw the value in warming up before her runs, which made her a more efficient runner. She also noticed the value in progressive strength and run plan that was scaled to where she was in her running comeback journey after having some multiple health issues that she was dealing with. And we adjusted her plan when she would have a setback in pain. And then she was able to keep building, not only getting back to her pre-injury weekly mileage, but conquer another 48.6 miles as part of the Dopey Challenge, enjoying the ride with friends, taking the lap around the World Showcase for the marathon, getting some adult beverages along the way. Don't get mad at me, guys, that they changed the course last year. So you're really not able to do that easily anymore. But luckily, Dipti was still able to get that in before they did change the course. And I loved being able to meet Dipti down in Disney as the both of us conquered Dopey together. So now I want to know, will this be your first Dopey challenge, or have you run multiple? If you can, please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to be able to create future content specifically for what you're going through on your Dopey journey. And I do read all of my comments, by the way. So I would just love to know. And next, I'm going to share with you the 5th tip I have for you to consider as you begin to embark on training for Dopey. But before I do that, if you are getting value from this and you're finding some of these tips helpful, insightful, and you feel like this is going to help set you in the right mindset for Dopey training, I would greatly appreciate if you hit that like button so I can continue creating free content like this, so you can maintain a strong mind, a strong body, and just keep running toward 48.6 and beyond. Now, let's get to number 5 of what to consider after signing up for the Dopey Challenge. The Dopey Challenge is not only a physical feat, but a mental and emotional journey during your training. And I want to share a story of an athlete I recently helped during this latest Dopey Challenge. Danny was a new to running as of January, and then he signed up for the Dopey Challenge because he wanted to share the experience with his father and brother, who are well accomplished runners in their own respect. And he lives in Brazil and was doing well, like building up his running, getting guidance from a coach, but unfortunately suffered a common injury I see a lot in first time marathoners, IT band syndrome, 5 months before the Dopey Challenge. His coach wasn't experienced in working with runners who have this injury, and he worked with a local physio in Brazil, but he still had knee pain limiting him in progressing in his Dopey training. So he was ready to give up, thinking he wouldn't be ready in time. Luckily, he found my previous training on 6 Steps to Mastering runDisney training on my YouTube channel and heard about our one-on-one program. Once we started working together, Danny's knee pain was gone within the first couple of weeks with the right exercises and modifications to his running plan. He didn't need to stop running that I made based upon my experience as a running PT and coach. And he was able to return to running and steadily increase his mileage week after week, giving him the confidence. And Danny really found the value in the detailed training plan and strength routines. But to my surprise, he really credits his success in conquering the Dopey Challenge without IT band pain to the emotional and psychological support that I was able to provide along the way. And even during runDisney Race Week, we were communicating via WhatsApp, and I was providing him insightful tips that played a crucial role in helping him complete the Dopey Challenge and achieve his goal of running his first ever marathon, which is just so awesome. And I just love that Danny was able to accomplish this as I did for Danny during our time working together. I will share this with you. You will need to believe in your success and modify the plan along the way due to setbacks, whether it's an injury like Danny had, or you're not sure that you can actually finish a marathon. You can run 48.6 magical miles if you put in the time, learn to grow in your running journey, and you make the necessary modifications along the way to keep your mind and body strong. So you can do it, and you will need to make modifications along the way. And I want you to really head into this year of training for Dopey thinking about you're not only training your body to adapt to the demands of running and think about like running as training and building up miles and right, like conquering long runs, but mentally and emotionally, you're going to need support as well. So now I want to share with you 3 common mistakes beginner runners make while training for Dopey. And the first is definitely not warming up. You need to move your joints, get the blood flow into your muscles, and get loose before you actually start running. So you need to actually do a 5-minute dynamic warm up in the How to Start Running download I mentioned earlier. There's a link to a how-to video on how to warm up before running, right? So you need to do that. It's going to make a world of a difference. It is by far the biggest thing that I hear from my one-on-one athletes on our second call after we've implemented a structured warm-up before their runs. They always say, wow, my legs feel so much better during the run. I don't feel stiff, creaky. First mile or two doesn't feel terrible. I don't need to warm up into the run. I actually feel good as I head out the door. So you got to warm up, okay? Don't make that mistake. Number 2 is thinking running should feel 10 out of 10 hard. So as you begin in your Dopey training, you should really master the easy run. Think about a 5 out of 10 effort in order to allow your body to adapt to the demands of running. And if you go out too hard, too fast, that's when you're going to get injured or get burned out, and you're not going to stick with the training. And I want you to succeed because you are actually listening to this right now. I have seen and heard of many, many Dopey runners heading down to Orlando in January, not prepared, right? So I'm giving you enough notice here so you can be prepared. So you need to actually plan ahead, be able to get in the miles that you need to get in. And I don't want you to get injured and have to stop running. And then you're going down there because, let's be honest, like we literally paid almost $700, right? So you're still going to go down for the experience. You probably still have your place booked, but it's not going to be the experience you want. So prevention is key. And that's what I'm doing right here, is really providing you the information that you need to now implement. Okay. The other mistake I see very commonly is not adding in strength training. Running is not strength training. Your muscles are being used when you run, but you need to strength train in order to allow your body to adapt to the demands of running consistently. And strength training is necessary. So if you haven't gotten that message out, I don't know, like we've really missed something. So I probably mentioned that already 3 times. And they say you need to hear something 3 times before you actually like implement it, right? Here's a recap, guys. 5 tips to start your Dopey training now that you're actually signed up. Like you're signed up. Number 1, if you feel pain during training, don't like freak out. Don't stress and don't necessarily stop running. Okay? Get guidance by someone who works with a lot of runners who actually sees these injuries, because they can actually keep you running and keep your training moving forward while also still healing from your injury. Number 2 was, if you're really taking up this Dopey challenge for weight loss, healthy lifestyle, there's more to conquering Dopey than just following a plan. So it's not as simple as just following the online training plans, whether you're following runDisney or some of the other ones out there that you could download. It will need to be modified, and there will be bumps along the road that you're going to need to modify your training for. Number 3, here's 4th time. Strength training is key to your success. Number 4, you don't need to suffer through shin splints during Dopey training. You will need to make adjustments along the way when you have flare-ups for pain or setbacks. And number 5 is, Dopey challenge is not only a physical feat, but mentally, emotionally, it's also a journey and part of your training. So don't forget to get the download for your free How to Start Running guide, and contains a lot of bonus video content of how to do actionable exercises that I mentioned as you start in your Dopey training to stay healthy. Remember, training starts now. Don't procrastinate until June. You will thank me in Disney when we meet after crossing the finish line and we're waiting in line together to take that post-race pic with Dopey. You can be like, hey, Duane, I listened to your training. And you know what? I started my training early. I was thinking about starting in June, but I didn't start in June. So you can tell me that story. We can tell tall tales that you knew all this stuff ahead of time. But I would love to meet you guys down in Disney when you do run the race. And you can get the download again at learn.sparkhealthyrunner.com, or click the link in the show notes that I have for you. And what do you do if you're at a crossroads with tackling your first Disney marathon? On one side is the obvious safe route with shorter races you've completed for years, or there's your dream marathon you've always wanted to pursue. Which would you choose? And if you've signed up for the Disney Marathon, this may be you. This was actually the exact problem like Sonia was facing. On one hand, she was completing 5Ks, half marathons, like they were going out of style. And on the other hand, she had a desire to conquer 26.2 miles. Then she discovered something that suddenly made everything click. She conquered her first marathon in Disney by overcoming her fears, and she was guided by Coach Latoya and our team in order to do that. So you can do it. You can overcome your fears and conquer 26.2. And when you execute these key steps in starting your Disney running journey, you'll not only get stronger, run longer, but feel more confident and healthier as a human, like Elisa did. She was left frustrated after suffering marathon training ending injury to her quad and her groin while training for the Chicago Marathon that she never actually got to race. This left her feeling defeated as she was going through menopause. She was struggling with some other symptoms at the same time and really lost confidence that she could actually run another marathon because she thought she was just injury prone at this point in her life. Luckily, Alicia found the Healthy Runner podcast and she was able to shift her mindset that she could safely recover while training. And when she signed up for the Dopey Challenge last year, she reached out to me as she was looking for guidance to really build up in the right way without overtraining so she could conquer Dopey, ringing in the year that she turned 50 in. So she wanted to like enjoy the whole experience, take it in with her running friends, take all the pictures along the way, and wanted to conquer 48.6 over 4 days and remain healthy so she could continue doing what she loves after the race and not be sidelined with an injury. So Alicia received the support guidance that she not only stayed injury free during training, completing back-to-back long runs on the weekends because she got stronger, but she appreciated the injury prevention exercises, the mental strategies we really implemented in her training, because Dopey is not only a physical feat, as I mentioned, it's a mental one as well. And running 4 days in a row and waking up at 2 a.m., literally 4 days in a row, like who does that, right? Like only us crazy like Disney runners. And Alicia not only was able to complete the challenge, but she did it with confidence and strength. It was like a dream come true for her, as she describes it as being a memorable weekend for her, marking the beginning of a new milestone year, turning 50. So what a way, right, to like ring in the year, isn't it? Or I think of runners like Katie, who was struggling running after college, but before kids, since becoming a mom 7 years ago, she was struggling to figure out how to train properly because she really didn't have time to research, figure out what plan would work best for her. She was doing the Galloway run walk method and had completed several half marathons, but really wasn't sure in how to approach strength training to help her running. And Katie got guidance from Coach Whitney on our team and provided her the clarity on what she needed to focus on, which was extremely helpful since Katie unfortunately was displaced from a hurricane and she really was able to still get stronger and was able to conquer the Disney half marathon. Or Stephanie, I think of, who completed the Dopey Challenge as her second marathon after thinking she wouldn't be able to get to Disney for the race due to IT band syndrome. We modified her training and utilized a strategic run walk strategy due to the injury to allow her to actually conquer the challenge. Stephanie was feeling so good without knee pain that she was able to run the last 6 miles of the marathon, feeling great. And I was super grateful to be able to actually meet Stephanie in person right before we headed off for the marathon. Then lastly, I think of Becca, who was struggling with stubborn knee shin pain after her New York City marathon. And she was able to get stronger to not only conquer one Disney marathon, but keeps going back year after year since that time, staying healthy after getting guidance from myself. And then later on from Coach Lou on our team. And as you can see, like strength training in order to run works to conquer the Dopey Challenge. These are just like 4 examples from the dozens of runners, and I mentioned others before, that we've helped conquer the runDisney challenges. And my name is Dr. Duane Scotti, and my mission is to help get you ready mentally and physically to conquer this Dopey Challenge, and then continue to allow you to enjoy lifelong injury-free running after the challenge. I'm the founder of Spark Healthy Runner. In this training, I covered 5 tips that can get you started on your Dopey Challenge training for success and why you need to implement these steps to really get going on the right foot, literally. However, if you've listened to me during previous trainings like this and you're still worried or frustrated with constant injuries or wonder why you're not improving in your running journey, I want to invite you to learn and implement the how for all of these 5 tips that I shared with you today in conquering the Dopey Challenge. So you can actually spark off your Dopey Challenge running journey with a 4-month strong body transformation. We are currently accepting applications for a one-on-one healthy runner coaching program. And if you want to really start this challenge training on that right foot with a stronger body so you can stay healthy and feel confident heading down to Disney next January, this is exactly what we do with our individualized one-on-one healthy runner coaching program. And it is going to put you in the position that you are pretty much guaranteed to hit and surpass your goals for Dopey. You're going to be getting a stronger, injury-free running body, so you not only conquer Dopey, but stick with running for decades to come. Get the structure, support, and accountability to transform your body, to get stronger, run longer, and feel amazing, even if you don't think you're a fast runner. Apply using the special link I have for you in the description to this training. And it's been like super fun, like so much more fun than actually Dopey registration, like sharing these tips with you today. And I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode to help you get strong, run faster, and enjoy lifelong injury-free running. This training was all about these 5 tips in really starting your Dopey Challenge journey. As I mentioned, there are actually 6 steps to mastering runDisney training. Now you can learn them by watching this video that I have for you next.